Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up. I read 13 books this month, which was amazing. A lot of the books that I read like in the last couple of days of January, so it was a good reading month for me because I've been so busy and I started school again and all that stuff, so I'm excited and I'm back into reading and I'm out of that slump and I'm ready to move on. So anyways, let's just go through the books that I read this month and I'll tell you guys what I thought of them. The first book that I read this month was Through the Evernight by Veronica Rossi. I finished Under the Never Sky way back in September, and I went on Amazon to order this book and I accidentally ordered the paperback copy and that didn't come out until December, so I had to wait to read this book, but I'm so glad that I read it. I just love the series. It's one of my favorite series of all time. It's so good. If you haven't read it, I just highly recommend it. It's got so many different elements in there. I recommend this book. I recommend the series, period. I ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I read, I did a review on, and I'll link it down below. That is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is a high fantasy novel. It's young adult high fantasy, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. I think I gave it a 4 stars or 3.5 stars on Goodreads, and there's a lot of bookish pet peeves of mine in here, and looking back on it, I really enjoyed the story and I can't even remember the pet peeves that bothered me so much, so I know I enjoyed the story and I can't wait to read the second one. Hoping that the second one is a lot better because a lot of people say it is better, so I'm excited to read that one. The next book that I read is a novella, and it is Beautiful Wedding by Jamie McGuire. This is a beautiful disaster novella. This is a part in the book where the two main characters get married, and you don't know what happens in the book, you just know that they came back and they're married, and this kind of shows you what happened while they were away, and it wasn't as good as I was expecting it. I went into it with a lot of high hopes and I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but I think it was also my mood. I just wasn't in the mood for it. I haven't visited those characters from this story in a long time, so I think I'm going to give it a reread, but on the first read I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, I think, on Goodreads, and yeah, I recommend Beautiful Disaster if you like new adult or if you're just starting out new adult, because it's a really good story, and I was just expecting this to be really good, but it was okay. It's a novella, whatever. The next book that I read was a new release, and I read it on my Kindle. That was Rome by Jay Cronover. This is the third book in her Marked Men series. I think that's what it's called. I always get it wrong. But this is the third book. The first book is called Rule, the second one is Jet, and this is Rome. This is just a new adult series and it's really fun, and I really enjoy all of the books so far. Rome was really good. I think I gave it a 4 stars on Goodreads. I might have given it a 4.5 stars. I just didn't like the female character as much, but Rome was one of my favorite secondary characters and I was excited to read his story. He's still one of my favorite characters and I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, the female character wasn't my favorite. I didn't totally fall in love with their relationship, but overall I really enjoyed this book, and yeah. The next book that I read was a sequel to one of my favorite books I read last year, and that is A Million Suns by Beth Revis. This is a great sequel. It might have been a little slow in parts, and that kind of annoyed me, but all in all, it was so good, and I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait to read the next and final book, Shades of Earth. This series is amazing. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend this series as well. It's up there with Under the Never Sky. It's really good. I didn't think I would enjoy sci-fi as much as I do, and everything is just really good with this story. I can't remember how many stars I gave this book. I might have given it a 4.5 or 4 stars on Goodreads, and I gave Across the Universe a 5 out of 5 stars, so this one wasn't as good as Across the Universe, but it was still really enjoyable. The next book I read was another new release, and that was Wide Open by Shelley Crane. This is the second book in her Wide Awake series. The first one is called Wide Awake, and then this one is called Wide Open. She also has a novella called Wide Spaces. That's you read before this. It kind of goes with Wide Awake. This is more of a standalone book, but has the same characters in it. Is that making any sense? Probably not. This is another new adult book, and it's really good. It's about two people who are suffering from drug addiction, and they are trying to get their life on track and all this stuff, and it's just about them working together to create a better life for themselves, and they go through some really, really tough things in this story, and it was so enjoyable to read about, and it was just a good story. I also reviewed this book and I'll link that review down below. But I highly recommend it, and it's not too explicit on the new adult side. It's just has more adult situations or adult topics, like I said, drug addiction, and some of it's a little tough to read, but overall it was an amazing book. I love Shelley Crane. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was another sequel. I've read a lot of sequels. I'm going to read a lot of conclusions next month. The next book I read was Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I just don't understand the hype about this series. What? What is that? What are you... I'm going to continue reading, of course, but for some reason I'm just not falling in love with the characters like I wish I would. Or that I thought I would have. It's just, I don't know, I just thought I would like it a whole lot more than I do. But I enjoy the historical elements, and it is a little slow read for me. I can't read it as quickly as I can other books, but I don't know. It's got good and bad qualities. I don't know. I don't understand Will Herondale. Like, yeah, he's Will, but I mean, like, Jim is just so sweet, and I don't know. I don't know whose side I'm on yet. I don't know. Okay, let's put that down. The next book that I read was a reread for me. I picked up a Kristen Ashley book because I was kind of in a slow moving process. I wanted to just read something really quick, and I read Clockwork. I read Rock Chick Rescue, which is the second book in the Rock Chick series, and this is just such a great story. I've reread this book a lot of times. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite Rock Chick books. I just really, really enjoy it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was probably my favorite book of the month. I don't know, it's not. It was my favorite book of the month until I finished another book yesterday. I can't. But this book was really good, and it's The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. A lot of people are reading this right now, which is really awesome. I was in a deal with my brother that if I read his favorite book, he would read my favorite book. I've said this a lot of times on my channel, I feel like. But so I read it, and I really enjoyed it. This book was just really, really good. It's got amazing world building. The fantasy elements were amazing, and from someone who doesn't read a lot of fantasy, it was fast-paced, it was fast-moving, really, really enjoyable. I never had any hang-ups, no long descriptions. It took me like a week to read, which is pretty long, but I was also really busy. And I just really enjoyed it. I really did. I highly recommend this series if you haven't picked it up yet. I will be reading the rest of the series very soon. The next book that I picked up was another Kristen Ashley book. It was Rock Chick Renegade. This is the third book in the Rock Chick series, and I have never reread this book, and I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed it the first time, but it wasn't one of my favorites. Rereading it, it was really good. I just in love with him. Like, once you read it, like, if you read it once and then you don't like it and you read it again, it's like, wow, I love this story. It's really good. Kristen Ashley is amazing. I also read another Kristen Ashley book after that called Raid. This is the third book in her Unfinished Hero series. I don't like her Unfinished Hero series. It's not my favorite, and I wouldn't recommend, if you were trying out Kristen Ashley, to read those. I did enjoy this story. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars compared to all the 5 stars that I give her books usually. It just had certain things that I didn't like about it, just little things, and, you know, can't love all of her books, right? The next book that I read was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I, of course, did a read-along with a friend of mine on Twitter named Jordan, and we both enjoyed this book immensely. I will do a review of this, and I will link it down below. It was so good. It was very surprising of how well I liked it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, so I'm glad I picked it up. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And last but not least, the last book that I read this month pretty much tore my heart open, and I refuse to believe that it's done. I mean, I feel like there's so much more that can happen. But anyways, it's Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi, and it's just, look at all these tabs. These are all my favorite parts, all the parts where I was like, it's just so good. If you haven't picked up the series, do it. I just highly recommend it. It's such an amazing series. The first book is good, the second book is way good, and this one is just phenomenal. I loved this book, and I just I don't want it to be over, and I don't accept that it's over. It's gonna have like spin-offs. It has to, like, you know, it has to do something. It has to do something. Something has to happen. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I just loved it. And maybe I'll do like a series review or something. I did do a book talk discussion thing on Under This Never Sky when I first read it, and I haven't looked at that video since I made it, so maybe I wouldn't recommend you watching it because it was a long time ago. But maybe I'll do like, I don't know. Let me know if you guys want a series review or something, because I'll do that. I will do that. Okay, that's it. Those are all the books that I read this month. It was a good reading month, and I have a lot of books planned for next month because I had such a good reading month. I don't know, next month we're moving into our house, so it's gonna be even worse. We're gonna be packing and moving, and like, it's just gonna be really busy, and I hope that I can read in the meantime. Plus I have school. It's gonna be a busy month next month, but I have a lot planned, so stay tuned for that. I will be uploading my TBR tomorrow. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you guys read any of these books this month, or plan on reading any of these books, or what you read this month, or anything like that. If you enjoyed the books you read, you know, let's talk. I want to talk. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!